Hello, future doctors, medical lab scientists, dentists, microbiologists, pharmacists, and what have you. I know you're already preparing for your JAMB exam, which is coming up in probably in 5 weeks. 5 weeks, depending on when you're watching this video, which is coming up in 5 weeks or in 6 weeks' time. I know you have been preparing, you have been attending JAMB classes. I know you have gotten your past questions. I know you are reading both day, you are reading at night, and you are reading in the morning. But I want to show you something in this video. I want to show you common mistakes that you need to avoid if you are dreaming of scoring up to 250 plus in your JAMB UTME in 2025. This video is going to be something that is realistic. It's going to be something that is the practical tips that you can easily apply in your course of study, and I believe it's going to be really helpful. If you are coming across my channel for the first time, my name is Basi Ejoba. I'm a 400 level student in the University of Calabar studying medical laboratory science, and in my channel I help students level up the academic game. We also talk about personal development, and we also share helpful tips on this channel. So if you love content like this, don't forget to hit on the red subscribe button so you can continue getting updates anytime I'll drop videos like this, and so that you can also help me grow. And just like I've said, I'm going to show you and I'm going to tell you some mistakes you need to avoid if you are dreaming of scoring up to 250 plus, 300 plus in your JAMB UTME in 2025. Number one is procrastination. You're already reading, and the thing is, you're already reading, but there's a particular topic or there's a particular subject you are yet to cover. You have to be very sincere to yourself. You understand? When I was writing my JAMB, that was in 2020, when I was preparing for my JAMB exam, I was actually preparing for my physics, I was actually preparing for my biology, I was actually preparing for my chemistry, but I was procrastinating in my English. You understand? When it comes to my English language, I was procrastinating. I was like, oh, I will do it later, I will do it later, I will do it later. And unfortunately, till I wrote my exam, that was in that 2020, I'm not sure I gave up to 50% attention to my English language studies. So procrastination is actually a killer of destiny. But at this particular time, it's not just a killer of destiny, but it's a killer of your future, which is your destiny also. So if you know you are someone that you're already procrastinating, you're already starting your procrastination in a particular topic or to cover up a particular subject, I want to tell you that you need to avoid procrastination at all costs. It's a very deadly mistake that if you continue doing it, it's going to jeopardize your chance of scoring or getting your dream course. You know that you can get up to 50 on, okay, let's say you score 90 in your chemistry, you can score up to 90 in your physics, you can score up to 90 in your biology. But imagine scoring 30 something in your English language. You know how it's going to reduce your mark. You understand? You know how it's not going to add a tangible score to you. So it is important that you avoid procrastination at all costs. I'm just using English language as an example. So you know yourself, you understand? You have to tell yourself the truth. Is it biology you are procrastinating? Is it physics you are procrastinating? I want to tell you that you have to kill that procrastination and go and start facing that particular subject or that particular topic you have been running away from. Secondly is that a lot of students have come to discover they have what I call the ineffective study technique. That is, they don't have a study technique. What they just do is they just study. But the funny thing is, they can spend 6 hours, they can spend 8 hours, they can spend 12 hours. In fact, some students spend a full day, that's 24 hours study. But when you get to ask them questions on what they study, they can't reproduce it back. They can't give you a tangible answer or a correct answer to what they just spent hours studying. That is why it is important to get a study technique, but not just a study technique, but effective study technique. I always talked about in my videos, if you have been watching my videos, I've always talked about using the Pomodoro technique, which is Pomodoro technique, just taking short breaks in between your studies. That means if you have to study for 1 hour, you study for 25 minutes and have a 5-minute break, and you come back and study for 25 minutes. And also talked about the active recall. The active recall is one that the moment you finish reading a particular subject or a particular topic in a particular subject, you tend to close it and see whether you can be able to recall what you have just read. It is important and necessary that you remember what you read, because that is the major reason you are reading. So the active recall is one that will really help you remember what you read. Let's assume you finish reading photosynthesis in biology. Try close that textbook and see whether you can be able to ask yourself questions. You understand? Ask yourself questions in photosynthesis and see whether you'll be able to remember it. There's also another study technique that's known as the Feynman's technique. The Feynman's technique is one that after you finish reading, close your book and try to see whether you can be able to teach someone else exactly what you have read. You understand? And if you are saying, oh, there's nobody in my house to teach, you can also form an imaginary audience. You can just imagine an audience and start teaching them what you know. It's going to be really, really helpful, because the moment you tend to fail, or the moment you can't remember a particular concept, it gives you the opportunity of going back to read that particular concept and get to know it better. Thirdly is you neglect past questions. That is a deadly mistake. That's a very deadly mistake. The moment you are studying for JAMB and you are not giving attention to your past questions, I'm not saying you should spend all hours studying your past questions. There should be a balance of time you spend with your past questions. There should be a balance of time you spend with your textbooks. You understand? In fact, the past questions should come in pari passu with your textbook. So it is important that you pay attention to your textbook. It's important that you also pay attention to your past question. Get my point? This past question is not just for you to cram the answers that are there, or it's not just for flex. These past questions are what will really guide you on how the exam is going to look like. The past questions helps review exam format. It also helps to review consistent topics, that repeated topics, if you are really, really observant, or if you are really paying attention to what you are doing. The past question is going to review topics that have been repeated over time in some years. Just look for a particular past, for example, you are reading chemistry, get your past question, start from 2015 if possible, or if 2010 itself. Start noticing the patterns. You get to see that there are some topics that repeats almost every year, and there are some questions that repeat almost every year, or if it doesn't repeat every year, can repeat maybe skipping one year. So this past question, the only way you can get to know all this stuff is through your past questions. So it is important that in the course of your study, you don't neglect your past questions. You have your past questions, if possible, for all the courses you are offering. You can say, okay, I don't have money to buy my past questions. There are a lot of resources online. There are a lot of JAMB past questions online which you can get access to. There are a lot of apps like the Everest 23 apps that gives you access to more than 10,000 past questions and their answers, including explanations. So you can get to see that there is no excuse if you are not studying alongside with your past questions. The fourth on the list is poor time management. A lot of students don't actually know how to manage their time in the course of their studies, and due to the fact that they don't know how to manage their time, they start setting unrealistic timetable that they know that they cannot meet up. Imagine someone that is always busy. Your mom sells a store, a provision store, you understand, and you know that by right you're supposed to be there during the day, and you're not setting your timetable that, oh, I will start studying by 12. You know that you are lying to yourself. It's not possible for you to start studying by that time, because at that particular time you'll be at the store, or you say, I want to study in the store. It's not possible, because people will be coming to get stuffs. So you get to find out that the moment you start setting unrealistic timetable is one of the surest way to failure, or one of the greatest mistakes you can ever make if you are preparing for JAMB UTM. So it is important that you manage your time effectively, and it's important that you set realistic timetable. You must be very realistic. You must know who you are also. Are you a night reader? Are you a daytime reader? Are you a morning reader? You must not lie to yourself, because your friends say, oh, my timetable, I read from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. and you now say, okay, I want to follow my friend. In JAMB, we don't follow anybody. This is a personal race. JAMB is a personal race. You get my point? So it's important that you understand yourself and set your timetable according to who you are. That means you must be very realistic when you are setting your timetable. The fifth on the list is ignoring your weakness. Weaknesses, we are all humans, we all have our weaknesses. So it's important that you don't ignore your weakness. Some of us are not good in physics. Some of us are not good in biology. Some of us are not good in mathematics. Some of us are not good in English. It is important that you don't ignore these weaknesses, because you will be writing them in your exam. And if you ignore them, how are you going to ignore the questions on the day of your exam? You understand? So it's important that you don't just throw away your weaknesses or try to shy away from your weaknesses. Try to battle them. But the thing is that as you are focusing on your weaknesses, don't just focus on your weaknesses, forgetting your strengths also. There must be a balance. Understand? You must use your balance to complement your weaknesses. when you know that you are actually not good in, you try to work hard on it and also focus on those aspects that you are good in, so that in case, let's say you score up to 90 something, let's say 92 in your physics, and you are not good in chemistry and you are scoring up to 60 something in your chemistry, you get to find out that the 92 will actually complement your 62 in chemistry. So it is important that you don't ignore your winners. You must try to face your fears and actually get it right. 6 on the list is that you overlook your syllabus. That is a very big mistake that you can make as a student. Your syllabus is like a road map. If you are a driver, you understand, the syllabus is like a map or a guide telling you how the exams is going to look like, it's telling you how the questions is going to look like, telling you the topics you are supposed to focus on. You get to find out that if you are using essential biology for your study, when if you are studying or you are reading for your biology and you are using essential biology, there are some topics that you get to find in essential biology that are not on the JAMB syllabus. You get my point? Now if you don't get the JAMB syllabus, you get to find out that you just start reading without direction, because you just be reading your textbook from beginning to the end, and when you now get to the exam or you start you get to the exam, you don't see questions on what you read. When you leave, you say, oh, JAMB questions, they don't say direct questions, and you start misinforming the public. It's important that you get your JAMB syllabus, because the JAMB syllabus gives you objectives and gives you topics that you are supposed to actually read on. And the JAMB syllabus also gives you recommended textbook, tells you the recommended textbook that you are supposed to read. Like for physics, we have the New School Physics, one of the recommended textbook for JAMB. So you cannot know this recommended textbook if you don't have access to your JAMB syllabus. So it is important that you avoid the mistakes of not getting your JAMB syllabus. Like I said, this JAMB syllabus can get it online. It's not something you start looking for at the bookshop or whatsoever. You can get your JAMB syllabus online. And last on the list is fear and anxiety. You know, fear is normal. It's a normal stuff. You understand? We all have our fears. I talked about it. We all have our fears, but it's important that you maximize your fears for your good. You understand my point? You make good use of that adrenaline. Your fears should make you, or your fears should make you study harder. You understand? Your fears should not just cripple you or make you not to study. You should make good use of that adrenaline. It should trigger you to always study. It should trigger you to always be curious on discovering ways, or looking for tips, or looking for how you can be able to score high in your JAMB UTME. If you are writing your JAMB UTME 2025 or any year you'll be watching this particular video. So I've just given you 7 tips or 7 mistakes you have to avoid if you want to score up to 250 plus 300 plus in your JAMB UTME. I've talked about avoiding procrastination. I've talked about the ineffective study techniques, which a lot of students don't have. A lot of students don't have effective study techniques. I've talked about neglecting past questions, which I've told you the importance of getting the past question. I've talked about poor time management. I've talked about ignoring your weaknesses. I've talked about overlooking the syllabus. I've talked about the fear and anxiety. Scoring up to 250 plus, scoring up to 300 plus is something that is very possible if you are determined, if you are ready to develop, or if you are ready to sacrifice your time, just this few period of time that is left, just probably 1 month and some weeks. If you are ready to sacrifice this time for your studies, neglecting social media, neglecting every form of distraction, then I assure you that if you do this, if you give your sacrifice, giving your dedication, and you follow these tips that I have just dropped in this video, I assure you that you score up to 300 plus in your JAMB UTME. If you love this video, please don't forget to hit on the red subscribe button, and also please don't forget to share this video to your friends so that they can come here and get value, and in turn I'll feel motivated to continue dropping videos like this. Drop it in the comment section what results you are actually looking for to aid your JAMB studies as a JAMBite in 2025. Until I see you in my next video, always remember that you're wonderful, always remember that you're unique, and always remember that you're a pace setter. I really love you. Thank you.